All right, so I've gotten straight A pluses for the last 3.5 years now of my studies in engineering, and I would say it's not some like productivity tactic or some inherent ability to understand mechanical vibrations that allowed me to get there. It's just the understanding that it's important to come back and take a step back every once in a while because in school there's like this hustle and bustle. It's always so busy, and it's really easy to get caught up in the day to day. But if you don't take that step back to, breathe, then it's really hard for the whole thing to be sustainable. And the whole process of getting good grades just becomes very unenjoyable. So the solution that I had, this is what I started a couple years back, was to start going on a weekly adventure. And, whatever that weekly adventure is, it might be small, it might be big, but it is something out of routine, that enables you to get to take that step back and to be able to, you know, have that time to reset so you can come back to school even stronger. So let's get started on that. I first want to talk about just the benefits of going on a weekly adventure. So I don't think I need to tell you, why getting outside and experiencing, some beautiful, nature is good for you. But there are other aspects of it too. And so I think there's three big aspects that contribute to why this has helped me with my studies so much. And we'll talk about them quickly here. So the first aspect is when you go outside, when you go on an adventure or you go, out, you're essentially, playing again, right? And so as a kid, you play a lot. And as you grow up, you kind of stop. But why do you need to? What's really the reasoning behind that, right? Because when you go and adventure, or like I'm calling it here, like playing, right? You really get to re-energize yourself. And when you re-energize yourself, you come back and bring that energy into your studies, right? And when you're bringing that energy into your studies, you're going to be performing that much better. So that's the first aspect is, when you play, it brings that extra energy back that you can contribute now to your studies. Now, you're not getting A pluses because you studied for 20 hours. You're getting A pluses because you studied for a couple hours and then came outside to enjoy the nice weather or whatever it is, right? So that's kind of the first aspect of it. But also there's like the benefit that everybody kind of knows about, and that going outside is good for your mood. It's good for your like mental, right? There's a reason why people bring plants inside their house. There's a reason why plants people place them on their desks or in their workplace, right? It's because it's good. It's good for your mood, and when you have that better mood, you bring that into your studies and you bring that energy into your studies, and now you're performing that much better, right? And also the one other big benefit of going on your weekly adventure is that when you take that step back, right, when you take that step back from your long to-do list and you just come outside and you enjoy some adventure, some place you haven't been, then it really helps you accept that you can't get your full to-do list done. Like you're never going to be able to check off every single thing on your to-do list. And so once you accept that, then you can just be like, okay, I'm not going to get it done anyways. So I'm going to take a step back and to enjoy some other parts of life anyways, right? It's understanding that there's many good things that you want to get done in life. There's infinite things, there's infinite good things that you can do in your life, right? But you can't do them all. And so once you understand that and you say, hey, I can't, it's physically impossible. There's an infinite things that I can do, and I don't have the time to do it all. Then you can come back and be like, all right, I don't have the time to do it all. So I'm going to enjoy some of my time anyways. All right. I'm going to, take that step back. I'm going to realize that I'm not going to check off, you know, it's impossible to be 100% prepared for an exam. There's literally no way that you can be 100% guaranteed that you're going to get, a perfect grade on an exam. That's impossible. So accept that and be like, hey, I've studied, I've done my fair share of studying, I'm prepared for this. Now I'm gonna go and do something else. Now I'm gonna go and go for a walk with my dog or go on this adventure, go do this place that I haven't been, right? Because if you're in that mindset that there's always more and more and more to do, that's good and it can get you places, but so can taking that break to breathe and taking that time to reset. That can also, get you to those places that you want to get. And so do you want to be the one who's just grind, or do you want to be the one who's grinding an acceptable amount, working hard when you're working, and then taking that time to, reset and to enjoy the other aspects of your life as well, right? There's multiple paths to get, the results you want in your classes, and there's multiple paths to get the results you want anywhere in life, right? And so it's just understanding which path you want to take. Yes, you can do the whole grind route, and you can probably get good successes. I did that for my first year of university, and it worked. But I didn't enjoy the whole process as much. And so now when I do this, when I come out and enjoy the sunlight and get this view, everything into my system, I find that it helps me a lot more. It helps me enjoy the studying, not just doing well, but enjoying doing well as well. So that's a big thing. And the other aspect of, why a weekly adventure is so good is it's kind of an added benefit. And that's that when you are, in school, like I said earlier, there's this hustle and bustle environment, and you're always so busy, and you can easily get caught up, and all of a sudden, the whole year is gone, and you didn't experience anything, right? You go to class, you go to the gym, you do this, right? And it's very routine, right? And that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, right? I enjoy the whole process, but if you get stuck up in that process, then you look back and you realize that that whole like 4 months just disappeared. And that's why I think it's good to, get outside, go on your adventures, because then it gives you that substance that you can look back on, right? Because otherwise, it's like, what did you do this past semester? Well, I went to school, I went to the gym, I saw some friends sometimes, right? And of course, while these things are good, it's kind of missing like the icing on top, right? You want to be able to look back and say, "Well, I'm glad I did that." You want to look back and say and see the substance in your life, right? And so I think this doing stuff like this gives you that substance, right? Okay, and so because of this, idea, all these things about why it's so good to go on your weekly adventure. This past semester in university, me and my buddy, we were saying, let's get on this. Oh, well, I was saying let's get on this adventure, and we decided on going to climb some trees. Okay, so I know it sounds crazy. I know you might be like, oh, climbing trees, that's for children. Um, but doesn't need to be. Maybe it's a little bit childish. Maybe it's a little bit playful. But like I said earlier, that play is good for you, right? And also understand that there's no reason why you needed to stop climbing trees. There's no reason why you needed to stop playing. Everyone as a kid, they went and played. They jumped over puddles. They were climbing trees. They were exploring. And then they stopped. And then everybody kind of got depressed, right? Because everyone was on their phones and stuff. So realistically, there's no reason why you can't, go and climb a tree. There's no reason why you can't go and, go outside in the rain and play, right? Because these things that you stopped doing when you were younger, they were kind of the things that were good for you, right? You can't physically be upset when you're like, you know, 20 feet up in the air in a tree or something, right? It's pretty much impossible. So this was our mindset going into this, and little did we know that this was going to be, one of the highlights of our semester at university. And so we would meet up every, weekend, or every other weekend, and we would just go to the forest, and we would go on a walk, and we would climb some trees. Okay, and so this was the middle of winter, so it would get pretty cold, but we had our jackets, we had our mitts, we had everything ready, and we would go into the forest, and we would just start climbing up some trees. And it was great. Every other weekend we'd meet up at the forest, and you just try to like climb a tree that you haven't climbed before, right? And so you're going up stuff like this and like that and stuff, and we would record them, and yeah, we would just the goal was to get 100 trees by the end of the year. And so one thing I noticed is that I would always really feel good coming back from these tree climbing whatever meetups or whatever, and I'd come back, I'd feel energized, I'd be ready to get back to work because I really enjoyed that time. I really enjoyed being out in nature and exploring, right? And so I, I I think there's just so much value there. Climbing trees was good for you as a kid, okay? And I'm telling you right now, it's good for you now. It's didn't change. Nothing changed in your mind that will stop you from enjoying it nowadays. It's just other people, okay? And if other people are telling you it's bad to go climb trees, well, many other people aren't happy with their lives, so maybe you don't need to listen to them, okay? So it didn't matter if I had a test or if I had an assignment coming up or whatever. I would always find that time to climb one tree a week. That was my goal. And so I set myself on this, and I did this for the 4 months of university, and it was great. I really think that this was one of the biggest reasons why I was able to do very well in my studies this past semester with so much less effort, because this semester I really did not put as much effort into school as I should, and I thought that I was going to get poor results because of it. But because I have a strong foundation, and because when I studied hard, I was able to still produce those good results. And I think it was because I was always coming at my study sessions with positive energy. I was always coming at my study sessions, with good mood, good energy, because the rest of my time in school, I was spending doing things like this. I was going to the gym, or I was going, outside, or I was spending time with friends, and all this stuff was boosting the mood, boosting the energy, so that when it comes time to perform, which is studying in this case, or writing exams, I just perform that much better. So I really think that this is the secret life hack to, getting your A pluses. It's not, some productivity technique. It's not some, study technique, 5 minute, memorization method. It's some trees, maybe some fields, and that's it. So I hope you can take some action on this video and, schedule your weekly adventure, okay? Because that weekly adventure is going to let you build something not routine into your typically routine schedule, right? Because routines are good. There's a reason why, I tell about scheduling your days and having routines and doing all this stuff, because it lets you operate and achieve your goals at a high efficiency. But the one negative of them, the one drawback, is that you miss out on the non-routine experiences. And so by doing this, by trying to schedule your weekly adventures in, that's going to let you build those non-routine experiences into your routines. So you get the benefits of the routine and the benefits of the non-routine experiences. So that's why I'll say schedule your weekly adventure. It doesn't need to be climbing a tree, but ask yourself the question, when was the last time you climbed a tree? Probably it's been a while. You probably don't even know. And so I would highly recommend, going outside, climbing the tree, head up there and see what you think, okay? Because you're going to come back to your next study session feeling that much better. Take your friends. It doesn't need to be you alone, but it could be. And sometimes it should be, right? Because there's value in just going out on your own. And so just build this into your routine every, Saturday afternoon or every Sunday afternoon or whenever it is, okay? Have something like this in there, okay? Because when you have this in there, when you have your weekly adventure plan, you'll get so much more than the typical, student routine, right? Go to school, go to the gym, go to sleep, right? That's nice and it's good and it will get you places, but so will taking that step back. So will, going outside. And so build this into your routine, because it's not just going to help you get better grades, right? Like I said earlier, you come at all your stuff with a better energy and that's going to give you better grades, but it also is just going to let you enjoy your university experience so much more. And I hope that with this video, you can see that understanding and you can take some action and get the benefits like I have.